Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oxcord podcast presented by Boot Crew Media and sponsored by Maker's Mark. I am your host, Chris Oxenrider. I apologize for the voice. I may or may not have had a little too much fun in Tuscaloosa this weekend. If you saw me, no, you didn't. And joined by me as always, my co-host, Nick Perkins. Nick, how we doing, bud?
Man, I'm struggling just right along there with you, and I didn't have near as long as weekend as you did.
Yeah. Long story short, I'm not 21 anymore, and hangovers hit different, especially with a 7-hour car ride.
See, that's brutal. I only had 1 hour, and I hated that. 7-hour ride home was brutal for you. I can't even imagine how you did that.
Yeah, so for those who know, we were all in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Glad to see a ton of y'all. Had a lot of people come up and said they listened to the show and we were doing a great job. And
you were like king on campus there for a little bit, man. It was like, I guys, like, no kidding. I was walking with Cruz down to Galette's. We were going to start the day with a casual yellow hammer, as you do. And I mean, we got stopped like 4 or 5 different times. This guy was like, "Oh man, it was wild." So appreciate you guys for that. That was cool.
Yes, it was a great time. Love being back in Tuscaloosa. It's always fun. I always have a good time with it.
How high is your ego right now?
It's not though.
It's not. Okay, no. I thought I was gonna need to take you down a peg or two today, so I'll take the Michael Thomas jokes off down a little bit.
No, I love it. It's kind of weird in a way. I always make sure I stop and talk to everybody who wants to talk to me. All, like the fact someone willingly wants to go out of their way to talk to me is kind of funny. So I will make sure that I take the time and talk to you and just tell you thank you, because it's really humbling and I appreciate all the love and support. But we all had a great time. Got to meet a lot of people. Got to meet some celebs. Hung out with some former football players and friends of mine. So great time. And Nick got a new wardrobe at a certain clothing store, and so did I. And we always got to represent the Tide no matter where we go.
Absolutely. I'm actually repping them right now. So
are you?
Shout out. Yeah.
Hold it so we can tag him. There you
Check
go.
this out right here.
There we go. Love to see it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and obviously I was at my local watering hole, Innisfree, the best college bar in America.
Hands down.
I'm sorry, it is. Speaking of which, I'm actually really excited to announce that we will be doing a live show at Innisfree in the fall. The Oxcord Live is going to be happening at Innisfree, and I could not be more excited. Right now, we are scheduled to do it for Texas A&M weekend. I'm so excited. It's going to be October 8th. We're still locking down the details, but it's something that I'm really excited about, mainly because I have spent an ungodly amount of money there over the last decade. So I'm glad that sponsorship is now paying off. So
question for you: over under 15 grand you've spent at Innisfree over that decade period? I would go over. I think I've definitely gone over, and I'm 5 years.
No, I don't think so. Oh God, I don't want to know now.
Yeah, that's a kind of a terrifying number to think about, honestly. All those nights.
Oh, okay. So
actually, I've had bad tabs there before. I mean, bad as in.
I wonder if DraftKings Sportsbook would put odds for over under 10 grand that I've spent in Innisfree in the last 10 years.
I would take the over. Absolutely over.
That's a tweet somewhere. So intern, write that down. So anyways, we're rabbling, reliving glory days. It was a great time. During the weekend though, NBA playoffs started. A lot of great matchups. I feel like a great play-in games, by the way. We were at Innisfree watching the Pels come back from double digits to beat the Clippers and go to the playoffs. But we'll start with round one. The first game, Dallas, Utah, no Luka, a little bit of a defensive struggle in the beginning of it. And then it actually turned into a pretty decent game, Nick.
Yeah, no, it absolutely did. I was sad to see no Luka, but I mean, Donovan Mitchell, man, balled out 32 points. It was like almost a quiet 32 points. He was just being Donovan Mitchell, man. He's a baller.
I know he doesn't. I feel like he doesn't get the love he deserves just him being in Utah. Like I really
I'm
feel
gonna
like,
go on a wild take here.
okay.
And like John Wall, right? He was on the Wizards forever. Um, he's like one of those. It's like the same thing. He like is so good, or he was so good, but nobody really ever talked to him. He never got media coverage. Like Donovan Mitchell is the same thing for me. Like he just never really gets media coverage very much.
I feel like that's a pretty decent take. And then of course Minnesota upsetting the
Mm.
number 2 seed Memphis Grizzlies 130-117. Anthony Edwards 36 points, John Morant 32 though. This one was shocking to me. I did not see this one coming. But I did say I thought Memphis was I thought they were a year too early.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Minnesota came out and scored 41 points in the first half or quarter, and it just like it was like, whoa, like this. Okay, this seems for real. This seems legit. I think we got a series on our hand. Like I could see this game going 6-7 games.
Yeah, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, Patrick Beverly, Anthony Edwards, those are kind of like your main guys on Minnesota. I mean, and that team, they got some heart, man. I mean, like people kind of made fun of them for celebrating the way they did. I love it. That's what makes the NBA watchable to me. Is like when like players actually give a shit and they like really try. That's why NBA regular season I can't watch it. It's a bunch of, crazy athletes that just are jogging up and down the court. When there's like passion in the game, that's when I get fired up. That's when I'll watch a Minnesota Timberwolves game if they get fired up like that.
Well, it's also because Memphis got a lot of crap, or not Memphis. I'm sorry, Minnesota got a lot of crap for celebrating the way they did making the playoffs. It's a big deal making the playoffs.
It's a huge deal. It's not like you're like the Lakers or the Celtics or whoever that you have like that history, or maybe you even make it every year. It's like these teams don't make it every year. I mean, Memphis has been bad forever. Until John Morant got there. And then now they're actually a 2 seed, so they're really good. But Minnesota, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, intern, tell me if I'm wrong here, but they do not make the playoffs very often. It doesn't seem that way to me. So when they do, it's a big deal.
I remember when they had like Garrison Conley and Zach, is it Levi Randolph, Big Z,
Levi Randolph?
No, not Levi Randolph. Zachary Randolph.
I was about to say Levi was a Bama player.
Zachary Randolph, Big Z, Zebo. Like, yeah, that's the last time I remember Memphis really being relevant in making playoffs.
Yeah,
not winning, but making. But I mean, Karl Anthony Towns has kind of figured everything out this year, and it's like he's a freak of nature on the court, and him going to Kentucky and just coming out and just unfortunately being in a small market like Minnesota, again, kind of like the Donovan Mitchell thing, you're playing for a team that doesn't really get a lot of exposure. But I was shocked by it. But it's game one, so don't overreact. I've seen the Charlotte Bobcats win a playoff game before against the Miami Heat, and no one was freaking out about that. So I can honestly say, like, if they do it in game two, now it's time to raise their eyebrows.
Yeah, agreed. Especially if they're dropping 130 a game like that. That's pretty wild. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, and that's not a norm. So like we'll figure it out. And then another one that I was a little shocked by, not because of the outcome of the game, but their star player not doing anything, and that was Atlanta going to Miami. Miami winning 115-91. Did Trae Young forget to get off the bus?
I don't know, man. That stat line is not looking good. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, it's like how many minutes did he play?
Trae Young played 28 minutes, was 1 for 12, 0 for 7 for 3. He got 6 of his points from the free throw line, and he had 6 turnovers. He was a plus minus 22, Nick.
Yeah, he had a bad day. Bad day. And that should tell you, honestly, he is Atlanta. I mean, he is that Hawks team. If he has a bad day, they're never winning a game. There's just not enough on that team to where he has a game, like an 8-6-4 game like that, and then they end up winning. There's just no way.
Yeah, Gallinari is Atlanta's leading scorer at 17. Miami could do whatever they wanted. I mean, PJ Tucker with 16 points, Jimmy Butler 21 points. I mean, and look, the baddest white boy in the league right now, I don't care what anyone says, Duncan Robinson is that guy. 27 points off the bench, Nick. 9 of 10 from field goal range, 8 of 9 for 3. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean,
8 of 9. They shot 47% from 3. You're gonna win 9 times out of 10 when you shoot almost 50% from 3.
Well, if you got a guy coming off the bench scoring 27 points, yeah, like I mean, I'd be shocked if you did lose that game. So, absolutely. I mean, but what a performance though for Miami. But they are the 1 seed, right?
They are the
not,
1 seed, but it's funny.
Yeah.
The media is not giving them any love. Like they're not believing in them. It's just they're like, oh, it's gonna be Philly, or oh, it's gonna be Milwaukee. So Miami coming out, having a great game against a very dangerous scorer in Trae Young. And Atlanta's a young team. I mean, Atlanta literally made the West or the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Like people should not forget that they were 2 games away from playing for an NBA championship.
Yeah, I mean, and they ran into Giannis, which is just what are you gonna do against that? I mean, he's the best basketball player on the planet right now.
It's true. And so I'm happy. Obviously, me being the Heat guy on the show, I'm very happy about this. The other team, like the other games weren't.
Oh, we got to talk about Celtics Nets. I mean,
I was saving the best for last.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I thought we were wrapping it up, and I'm like, oh man, we're missing a big one.
No, Nick. Here on this show, we say the best for last.
You're right.
So Philly Toronto was pretty much a snore. I mean, Philadelphia just completely did whatever they want. 131 to 111. Game never really seemed like Chicago, Milwaukee. Look, Giannis is this team. He's a freak of nature. I will say this though. Don't sleep on Chicago. Like that team could have folded over and lost by 15, and they continuously seem to make it a game. But I'm telling you, Giannis is he's so much fun to watch. He's the best player right now in the league. I think he is.
The Chicago Bulls lineup, I mean, like, other than DeMar DeRozan, I mean, you got Zach LaVine, who like is only famous for the dunk contest. Alex Caruso for being a white guy on the Lakers when they won the championship.
Whoa! Alex Caruso is a national hero. You watch it.
Let's be honest about what he is, though. Okay, he's not. He
was good enough for LeBron. Okay,
he was a cheap point guard. That's what it was. They didn't have to pay him a lot. That's what it was.
Caruso got paid. Okay, Caruso got some money.
What kind of money? I mean, we're not talking like top 5 point guard.
No. I mean, no. But I'm just saying, like,
my point being, their team does not have just star-studded power all over the place. It's not like a bunch of it's not a bunch of players you see on ESPN day in and day out, right? It's a bunch of really role player guys that play really well together, and sometimes in a way that's really, really good, because if you have a team that really plays well together, that can go out there and beat a big 3. I mean, we've seen that in the past before. So, I mean, fair enough to them. But going back to the point, like Patrick Williams, Vucevic, like this is not a star-studded team in my opinion. But no. They hung in there with Milwaukee and didn't give up. So you got to give them credit. Tip your hat to them.
No, I give them credit. And then New Orleans went up against Phoenix last night. Chris Paul is. We have to start including Chris Paul in best point guard of all time conversation. Agreed. If he gets a ring.
Agreed.
If he gets a ring, there's no way you can keep him out of best point guard of all time conversation. Like, you don't have to put him as the GOAT point guard, but he at least needs to be in top 3, top 5 at worst.
I mean, if he gets a ring, for sure.
And he gets a ring, yes.
Doing what he's doing at the age that he is.
It's insane.
It's insane.
I wanted to throw the remote through my TV the other night because, look, Phoenix 1 seed. They're a very good team. They're very young. But we kind of saw what happens when you punch Phoenix in the mouth. They're young. They live and die by the 3.
Yep.
They do. And second half, they got a little cold. And then New Orleans is a team that has no quit in them. In fact, look, they scored 37 in the third, 28 in the second after scoring 16 and 18 in the first half. Like, they could have rolled over and been like, oh, well, I guess we'll pack it up and do it for game 2. No, it was a 5-point game at one point. And Chris Paul just came over and took the game by storm. 30 points, 12 of 16. I mean, it's just it's impossible to guard this guy right now. And I think Herb is going to have to step it up and take the challenge to guard Chris Paul, an
I mean,
all-time
and I legitimately believe Herb Jones as a rookie is a first team all defense. He might be one of the best defenders in the league. And when it's all said and done, when his career is over, he might go down as one of the best defenders of all time. Like, that's how talented this guy is, how athletic he is on the defensive side of the ball. If you put this kid on Chris Paul and he still drops 30 on your head, you're in GOAT status at that point. I'm not kidding. Chris Paul is insane. I watched the tail end of that game because I saw that the Suns went up huge. I was following it on Twitter, and then I saw that New Orleans kind of like edged their way back into it. Like you said, made it a 5-point game there at the end. And my God, like you said, Chris Paul just takes over that game, and you just couldn't stop him. And I think we would be remiss not to talk about the BS call, Herb Jones, running into that guy, trying to get in position to play the ball. Obviously, it was on an inbound, but I mean, he was just trying to get in a position to defend, runs into the guy. But I mean, the commentary on that was ridiculous.
Reggie Miller had the all-time one of the worst calls of that, because you could clearly see, go back and watch it. And I know in-game speed is a little bit different. And then when you slow something down, you can make anything look bad. Like targeting ejections.
Mm-hmm.
It just, and what happened there, Herb Jones was crossing over, DeAndre Ayton, huge guy, was in the way. Well, Herb Jones' assignment was on the other side of the court, so Herb is going over to try and defend him. And he accidentally hits DeAndre Ayton pretty hard with his shoulder, and immediately turns around to check on him.
Yeah.
Like, if a player intentionally did that, do you think he's going to take time out of his assignment to look back and make sure that the guy he hit wasn't okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Reggie Miller thing, like, that's a flagrant. I know a intentional foul when I see one. Yeah. You're also
wild.
the same dude who tried to fight Michael Jordan in the middle of an NBA game.
Thank you. And you come from an era of basketball, like the mid late 90s, where like the Bad Boys of Detroit, like they were literally fighting people on the court. Yeah. And now, I mean, that just goes to show you how soft the game is one of the guys from that era is saying, oh, intentional foul, throw him off the game. I mean, he didn't say that, but like, he was acting like Herb Jones needed to be thrown out of the game for that. That's crazy.
He was calling for a flagrant too. And I didn't see it. And like I said, like, obviously, like, I'm glad. I hope DeAndre Ayton's okay. I hope it wasn't a mild concussion or anything like that. But I truly believe it was unintentional. And I think slowing it down and then it being in Phoenix and the emotions riding high, like, you have New Orleans coming back into the game, and it's just a sense of urgency. Like, everyone's kind of on the edge. I feel like Reggie Miller just fed into that way too much and made a bigger deal out of it than it needed to be. But like, everyone agrees, like, that wasn't intentional. And the people have been like, if you know Herb Jones as a person, Herb Jones is not a dirty player.
No, he's like the furthest thing from. I mean, like you said, the fact that he sat there and checked on the guy after, or like made that motion to go check on the guy immediately after. I mean, that's his instinct. That's like the kind of person he is. I mean, we're not talking about like I know I just sang his graces, but Patrick Beverley, who's like known to be a little bit of a dirty player every now and then. Like, it's there. You got to take it. There are different levels to this, and Herb Jones is just not that guy.
No, absolutely. And then, of course, the best game, I think, of all of it. Boston, Brooklyn, Jason Tatum.
Unreal.
I mean, to do a spinning layup to win the game is just wow. But before we get into all that, I'm starting to finally realize that Kyrie Irving is a cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
The way he reacts to fans, the way I mean, I get it. It's your former team, whatever. But I mean, that's just so classless. And like how he left the court, how he reacted to the people in the tunnel, saying, and I get it, I understand, they were riling you up. They were probably talking to him the entire game. They were probably saying some stuff that we can't repeat on this podcast. But at some point, you got to know you're a professional athlete. You got to keep your temper. You got to keep your head. And he just doesn't care anymore. I mean, he just simply doesn't care. I think he knows that, no matter what he does, he's going to play in the next game. He's not really going to get suspended. He might have to pay a fine, but I mean, when you're getting paid the way he is, what's a fine? So
I mean, yeah, but I mean, just the way he acts on the court, like, yeah, dude, you're a superstar. When you play, you're one of the best players in the NBA. Yes, people are going to chirp at you. It's Boston. That's what they're like.
I was about to say, Boston people are known for that.
They're known to get on their skins, and you're feeding into it. In fact, you played there. Like, you should know. But yeah, you didn't handle it in the right way, and then you're flipping people off like a child behind your head. Like, if you're going to do it, just do it.
Yeah, I'd almost respect it more just because of like the content out of it that it would come. But you're doing it sneakily behind your head, like,
and then own it. And then a fan in the tunnel saying Kyrie, you suck, and then turning around and say, suck my, what it is. But like, I'm like, dude, come on. Like, are you that thin skinned? You played with LeBron, for God's sake. Like, come on.
Has he always been like this though?
Because
I've always given the dude like the benefit of the doubt that like whatever happened, he bounces from team to team every like 2 to 3 years, it seems like. But I mean, after showing this, how Brooklyn barely made the playoffs this year, didn't they have to win a play-in game to get in?
Yeah.
I mean, and the stars that are on that team, like we just talked about, how Chicago doesn't have like that star-studded team. Well, Brooklyn does, and they barely made it to the playoffs. So, I mean, I'm with you on that one. I don't mean to just like ride your coattail here, but I mean, he might just be a cancer.
I think he is. Like, dude, think about this. If you're this good of a player, and look, went to Cleveland, won a ring with LeBron. In fact, I don't think LeBron wins a ring in Cleveland without him. I think that's pretty well established.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
And then you leave that situation to go to Boston because you want to make your own legacy, and you don't do anything there. And then you force your way into going to Brooklyn, and then you sit out half the season because of not getting the vaccine, which that's a whole other issue to get into. And I'm not going to tell anyone what they can and can't put it or should put in their body. But like at the same time, though, is that like,
I think the way he went about it was also a little strange too. It's fine to have that feeling, to have that take. Yeah. I would never disrespect somebody for saying that, but the way he acted it in the media, the way he acted in the media about it, and I mean, it's just not a good look, man.
I don't think it is.
It's a distraction in the locker room, is what it is.
It is, but let's not take away the fact that Kyrie Irving is a, diva. Take away from how great Jason Tatum is.
Yeah,
I mean, 31 points, 9 from 18 from the field, but obviously, what everyone's talking about is that incredible spinning layup to win the game. Down 1. Durant chucks up a 3, and it looks like, I was like, dude, if that was any other player shooting up a 3 besides Curry and Durant, I'd be like, dude, why would you take that shot?
Yep.
But Durant's known from hitting those daggers from that far away.
Yep.
And then Boston goes down the court, time running out. Looks like it's going to be a busted play. It looks like they're defending it very well. And then they just find Jason Tatum. And just, again, that spin move is just like, I could literally watch that spin move on repeat and not get bored of it.
Yeah, it was extreme. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete, and he's super young, right? Like he was, I want to say like Lonzo Ball's draft class, wasn't he?
I think he was 19 when he came in the league.
Yeah, so he's still young, and he's still he's balling out like that. I mean, and kind of to touch on your KD take. I mean, it's not my place, and I shouldn't maybe even say this, but is KD washed? Is it time to say that?
I don't think KD's washed. I just think this Brooklyn Nets team was a
23 points, 9 of 24 from shooting. I mean, this was supposed to be his team. He was supposed to leave Golden State, Kind of like Kyrie wanted to build one in Boston. He needed to build something from absolutely nothing to cement his status, his legacy in the league. And he's gone to Brooklyn. Obviously, he had that injury. He's now come back, and they barely make the playoffs with all the talent around him. And he shoots 9 of 24 in a playoff game. I don't know. I mean, they can always win the series. They can always win the next series and make it to the championship, win a championship. They have the talent to do that.
I don't think they'll win this series. I
don't think so either. That's the thing.
I'm going to go out of respect for Kevin Durant, and a respect for Kyrie Irving's ability. I'll say Boston wins in 6.
Yep.
I really think it's 5. I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep in 5. But I have enough respect for those two as talent to play. Now, I will say this, KD, we know how talented he is. I just think this team was just a train wreck from the beginning. I really do. I don't like the way they handled the James Harden thing this year. I know now he's in Philly and they have Ben Simmons. I've never liked Ben Simmons to begin with.
I haven't either.
I think Ben Simmons is honestly one of the most overrated players.
He's a diva, just like Kyrie.
He's a diva. He can't shoot. He didn't really do anything in college either at LSU. In fact, I have to remind myself that he even went to LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Boston 4-2 or Boston 5-1. I think that's a really good. And then so back to the point though, if that happens, if this is a gentleman's sweep, you got to start questioning KD. I mean, you got to look to the leader of that team and say, what's going on, man? And what's wild about it is the betting odds favorite to the 2 top teams, betting odds favorite. I mean, per DraftKings last year was Los Angeles Lakers and Brooklyn Nets, vice versa. I mean, whatever it was, 1 or 2 or 2 and 1, whatever it was. And Los Angeles didn't make the playoffs, and Brooklyn's about to get bounced in the first round. So changing of the guard happening right now. These young guys are taking over.
Yo, no, absolutely. And I think I was talking to someone this weekend about it. It's hard not to have Jason Tatum possibly in your top 5 best players right now.
I think that's fair. I think it's a really, really fair statement to say. Devin Booker's up there.
If you're starting an NBA franchise and you want to pick someone who's, let's say 25 and younger,
mm-hmm.
It's hard not to pick Jason Tatum, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know how old Devin Booker is, but he'd be up there for me as well.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Jason Tatum, I think God, to be 19 and come in the league and did what he did, now he's 24 years old. I mean, I think he's definitely turning heads. Devin Booker's 25, so he kind of meets the like I said, if he's 25 and younger, I mean,
I'll tell you what, build me a franchise around Herb Jones. I love Herb Jones. That's what I want.
I love Herb Jones too.
That's what I want.
I would add Herb as on the team for sure.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna have to build around someone, I gotta go Tatum.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I mean, Ja. You can go Ja.
You could go Ja. I might get flack for this. I really, truly might get flack for this. But I really, really, truly feel like Jason Tatum might be like Kobe Bryant-esque level good. I think he's that good.
Oh my God, Nick.
I really do. He has the potential for that.
You can't say things like that until a GOAT has said things like that.
What do you mean? Like, what are we saying? Like, we need LeBron to say he's that good?
Yes. Or Jordan.
Well,
or Magic.
I'm a GOAT in my own mind. So
if Larry Bird comes out and says that, then I'm all for it.
I don't know, man.
If Larry Bird's like, okay, like I'm all for it.
I love Jason Tatum, and I'm with you on that. I'd build a franchise around him for sure.
And I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it with Zion. I'm not doing it with Luka. I'm not. In fact, like I think Luka complains more than any player in the league.
He does. I think he does get a bad rap most of the time, though. I mean,
I think he's great. I just think
his technical fouls are ridiculous, in my opinion. But he does complain a lot.
Him and Jokic complain more than anything in the world. I don't understand how Jokic doesn't at least get a technical game.
Yeah,
the way he complains. We've rambled enough. I want to hear what one of our interns has to say about this weekend. I'm going to bring in my boy Wyatt. Wyatt, how are we doing? Great seeing you this weekend. Now, let me see this. Out of all the games that were played, game one, what was something that stood out to you the most?
I would think the biggest thing, and of course it's my team, so I'm a little bit biased towards them, but the way that Miami absolutely handled Atlanta really shocked me. I thought this series was going to end up being 5-6 game. I thought this series really could go to 6, especially with what Trae Young can do. And Miami came out and just killed them. I mean, and that was with what should have been a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Bam Adebayo. He had a bad game. Tyler Hero, who will probably win Sixth Man of the Year, had a bad game. And yet, I mean, PJ Tucker at one point was our leading scorer. Like, come on. But the way that Miami handled Atlanta, that really shocked me.
It's a deep team. Very deep. A lot of
They are. I mean, Victor Oladipo didn't even play. And he's able to drop 40 a game if he really wants to.
How old is he?
Who?
Victor Oladipo.
Oh, God. He came in the league, what was it, 2013, I think?
So would you consider
Defo's
that
29.
Would you consider that getting close to veteran status? Like being
Oh, yeah. Victor Oladipo is I think he's a well-respected person in this league. And he's great. He was great coming out of Indiana. Like, holy crap, was Victor Oladipo good. Everyone kind of remembers him for that game where they beat number 1 Kentucky and they all rushed the court. It's kind of like what put him on the scene. But I think Victor Oladipo is a good veteran in this league, good veteran presence. Like him coming back after not playing a basketball game for a full year and getting a standing ovation the way he did. I think that goes to show you.
Yeah, that's cool.
So why was there anything else? What do you think was the biggest disappointment of the first game of the NBA playoffs?
To me, the biggest I'd have to go Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Brooklyn to me. Well, I mean, you guys were saying it earlier. Like, they've got all this star power. I mean, Kevin Durant at one point was in the conversation for best basketball player in the world. It was him and LeBron for 1A, 1B.
Right.
You could make an argument for either one at that time. Kyrie Irving is one of the best 2 players in the league. I mean, they got Ben Simmons, who I don't really know. I don't think he's played a game for him yet. And if he has, he didn't do enough for me to remember it.
Injured. So
injured. Yeah. And James Harden hasn't meshed with anybody since he came.
Oh, just
had
an internet drop.
Oh no. There he is. Oh,
he's back.
Technical difficulties here.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
You're good.
It's all good.
But like I said, James Harden hasn't meshed with anybody since he left OKC. So, I mean, Brooklyn theoretically should have been wiping the floor with everybody this season, should have, swept the first round of the playoffs as the 1 seed. And if they didn't make the Eastern Conference Finals, it was going to be a disappointing season. And
yeah,
I really and truly think if Boston takes game 2, I could almost see a sweep, full sweep here.
Yeah. I mean, if they take game 2, I think gentleman sweep is definitely on the table because
100%.
We've already seen Kyrie Irving he's not there as far as thick-skinned, strong.
I mean, and
you get that dude down in a hole 2-0, and I understand 3-1 happened in 2016. He also had LeBron James in his prime on his team, right? So the thing is you get that guy down 2-0, he might quit on you. Honestly, he might do it.
I think at this point in his career, he would just straight up quit.
Yeah,
he obviously wouldn't sit out a game, but I would not be putting the ball in his hands near as much as what I would do if it was tied 1-1 or up 2-0.
Yeah, agreed.
No, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I think that he should have, and this could kind of sound like a bad thing. I never thought he should have left Golden State.
Who, KD?
Yeah. I never thought he should have left.
Yeah.
I thought he should have stayed. I don't know. I don't know really what was going on in there. I've heard it was rumors going on, he wasn't getting along with Draymond Green and he wasn't getting along with Steph, and and there was a lot of he said BS going on. But
I think he likes to be the face of a team. And
I
he
also
wasn't really the face of the team there.
he also wasn't
Yeah.
winning rings before he got there either. And look what happened there.
I'm with you on that one. I'm just saying, like, his persona, his head, he likes to be the guy. He likes to be, you know, when the ESPN runs the reels before they start a primetime game, he likes to be the head honcho on his team. And
I
he
get
just
that.
wasn't, because Steph Curry was
Right.
there, you know?
Yeah, with Steph Curry is like, say what you want about him, but like Steph Curry at least is a likable guy, and he
Yeah.
always has been. Like yes, you can not like Steph Curry because he plays for Golden State, or because he celebrates a three before it even goes in because he's that good. He's literally, and this is not figuratively, literally the greatest 3-point shooter in NBA history.
Yeah.
Better than Ray Allen.
It's undisputed. This
It's
is at this
undisputed.
point.
It's
close.
easy.
And the way he does it. So I get that KD wants the spotlight and wants to be the star, but KD also needs to realize that like he didn't win a ring with James Harden and Russell Westbrook in their prime in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And he won rings in Golden State because Golden State taught him how to win. Just like it's the same thing with LeBron. LeBron was always great when he was in Cleveland. LeBron James did not learn how to win until he got there with Dwayne Wade and Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley. And then LeBron took that to Cleveland and he's taken that to LA. I feel like Golden State, him going there, he was spoiled with Steve Kerr, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it was chuck up 53s a night and half of them are going to go in. But I don't think KD's really learned how to like win. I don't think he has that killer mentality like LeBron James does or Kobe Bryant had or Michael Jordan had. Like I don't think he has it. I think he's soft and I think he's a snake. And there's a reason why he's got burner accounts on Twitter.
Well,
And I mean,
he's a clutch player. He's a great player.
He's very talented, but I think
He's-
he's weak mentally.
He's 7 foot and can hit a three with any of the best shooters in the league right now. And he does not move like he's 7 foot. But I think you're right. And that goes to show you how much mental aptitude or whatever you want to say goes into being a professional athlete. You can have all the talent in the world and not have it there mentally, and you're never going to do anything, man. That's just it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Kobe Bryant said he played better when he got booed more. Like, that's the kind of mentality.
Trae Young. Trae Young is a
Oh my
dog,
God.
dude.
I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like everyone saying F Trae Young and then Trae Young beats you when you're on building.
Yeah.
Like the last thing I want to do is start chanting F Trae Young.
Yeah.
When I'm pulling away, especially in Madison Square Garden, because he lives rent free in Knicks fans' heads.
Dude, and it just happened back in Cleveland like a week or so ago. I mean, F Trae Young chance came out and he dropped 40 on him. I mean, he's just a dog, and that's the mental, man. That's like you got to have that mentality when you're going to play professional sports.
It's true. And look, those were only game ones, and I'm like, this is great. I love this playoffs because I legit have no idea who's going to win, and I think that's what's fun. Like it's again, we talked about a few weeks ago. There's finally parity again in the NBA. Like Milwaukee, Miami, Philly, Phoenix, like no LA teams. Like I love this. Like it's great where it's not like the Lakers where it's or LeBron's gone. Like it's great. But thank you, Wyatt. I'll bring you back on for our last segment of the night. I'm gonna send you back to where you came. Bah. Nick, you won any money this weekend? Nope. Oh no, I lost Nick. Nick forgot to pay his internet bill because he lost some money on his bets. And speaking of bets, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code BOOT, bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game in the first round of the playoffs and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code BOOT, capital BOOT, at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. I won some money over the weekend. I was pretty excited about it. I won money on Pels. Got them before the Paul George news came out. Very happy about that. I've been betting on baseball. I love DraftKings. Like even if you don't use the promo code, like go download the sports book. It's fantastic. Great up-to-date odds on everything. And plus they sponsor this podcast, so clearly they're doing something right. So Nick went AWOL. I don't know where he went. Some co-host he is. Probably want to go put in some lines for the sports book, but I'm bringing in my other intern, my betting guy. Welcome to Max Bets. Mac, welcome. Let me hear it. This all you. Win me some money, big guy.
All right, so I think we're gonna call this segment "Max Got Your Back." We're gonna kind of play it by ear,
I
but
love
that's
that even better.
hopefully, I got your back this week. So all right. So my first bet, I'm talking the Jazz Mavs.
Ooh.
Mavs are 8-10 without Luka. Their season average was 43% from three, and they only shot 24% last game in game one. So I'm expecting a big jump there. Offense was really smooth. The Mavs defense was really good as well, but I don't know if they can repeat that. And they need a bench player to go off, whether that's Josh Green or Trey Burke. They need someone. And so I like the Jazz. I got them -5 spread, and I like the over as well at 205.5.
Okay. I like
My
that.
game, I'm looking at the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies. I like the Timberwolves in this one. I think their vet experience will come into play. I like Ja as well. He is that guy. I'm not saying he's not, but I think Karl Anthony Towns, like Anthony Edwards, I don't know anyone who can block him right now. If they come out hot in the first half, I think they're going to cover the spread very easily. The Grizzlies have kind of sucked defensively, especially the last game, and they've been terrible against the Timberwolves all year. I like the Timberwolves in this one at +6.5.
Love that.
Okay.
You got a third for us? You just got two, or did I miss
Just
one?
got two.
You got
And
two? All right.
and the over.
And the over.
Hammer the over.
Okay. 240.
All right.
What's the over you have on DraftKings right now?
The Jazz Mavs game.
Okay. What is the number though?
205.5.
205. Okay.
Yeah.
205.
Should be a lock. It was they scored 192 last week. The last game I'm expecting a jump for sure.
All right. So Timberwolves Grizz, you got the over in that one as well?
No.
You're not touching that one.
I'm not crazy. I'm staying away from that. I like
it's 241. That's a lot of points. That's a ton of points. Yeah.
I'm going for locks here,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, so two picks. So we got Jazz Mavs, and you're talking game 2 of that game, right? So it'll be at in Mavericks Day. Okay.
And that's one thing about my picks. They may not be the best odds, but that's not my objective. My objective is to win you money.
Sure,
right?
yeah. Let's make some people some money, man. I like
money. I like money a lot.
Who doesn't like money? So, Cruz, on your pick, are you riding with Mac or are you fading him? What are you doing?
Oh, you know what? Because I'm a ride with Mac. Mac's got my back, and he told me he's got my back, and I'm gonna trust him for this week. But if he doesn't have my back, then it's like, all right, I gotta figure something else, man. But I bet I am going to hit, and I feel pretty good about it. So I like New Orleans +9.5 tomorrow.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I love that bet. This team is not afraid to go after these Suns, and I think they're gonna make some lineup adjustments. I expect Chris Paul not to drop 30 again.
Sure.
And CJ McCollum was starting to find his shot towards the end of the game. With CJ and Brandon Ingram are hot. They're hot. I'm going Pels +9.5 tomorrow against the Suns, game 2. I'll put it like this. I have a really good feeling New Orleans might pull the upset tomorrow night.
I could totally see that outright win. So, is that your only bet you're taking this week, or your only one on your card?
That's what I'm going to do right now. I also like the other one. I like Miami -7. I think this Miami team's too good for Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, this Miami team fully healthy. When you got your bench player outscoring starters on your opposition. Obviously, we know Duncan Robinson's not going to hit 8 out of 9 threes, but I just think this Miami team's too good. In fact, I'm picking Miami in every game this playoff until they get to Milwaukee. I'm that confident in this team because I think I trust Pat Riley. I trust Eric Spoelstra. I trust this culture that they built in Miami. Plus, Miami in the playoffs, that atmosphere is electric. Yeah. It is loud. They're rowdy. They're drunk. They're rich. So it's just like, this is what they do. I love the white hot heat. I mean, it just is what it is. I will say this. So the only thing I disagree with, I'm going to go Grizz -7. I think they have a good bounce back game. This team is too young and too talented not to. It's at home. I think they'll get right. So I'm going to take Memphis -7.
Okay. All right. I'm personally gonna go my card. I'm gonna go Miami Heat -7. I
Yeah.
love that just for everything you just said. I think that their team's just too good with the Hawks. I think they have a game plan for Trae Young, and I think Trae Young, as good as he is Atlanta's Achilles heel. You take that out, they're done. They don't have a guy on that team that can step up and play to that level to get them across the line. And I think the Heat, like you said, Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. They have a game plan for him. And I think 7, I think this could be another double-digit win for them. And I'm actually going to ride with Mac, though. I'm going to ride him with the Minnesota Timberwolves pick. I love this team. I love the way that they play off of one another. I love the way that, they're just a cohesive unit. And I like the stat you brought up, Mac, about how they don't play. Memphis doesn't play well against Minnesota when they do play. Even though Memphis is at home, game 2, I could see them a little bit of a bounce back. I could see the Grizz winning. But I love 6.5, +6.5 Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm riding with you, Cruz, on the Pelicans pick, +9.5. This team has absolutely no quit in them, none whatsoever. And 9.5, 10 points is a lot in playoffs. Towards the end of the game, you got fouls, you got all this kind of stuff going on. So give me 9 +9.5 on the Pels. So I got Heat, Timberwolves, Pels. That's where I'm going.
Boom. Love it. Love to see it. Love to hear it. All right. So we know there's a little bit going on as far as, spring ball is always fun because it's like you can start to get them like overreacting season and my school's not going to lose a game. However, though, I will say this. I saw a team not win its own spring game. Vanderbilt played a spring game and literally tied. They couldn't even beat themselves.
I love
how
that.
bad Vanderbilt is.
Sportsmanship.
Yeah.
No, it's not sportsmanship.
Bunch of nerds up there.
And they're not good at baseball right now. They're not good at basketball. I think it's time we have a serious conversation about kicking Vanderbilt out of the conference.
Who is the team? Louisiana Lafayette? Did they have a great year this year? What team? And some random team had an insane year this year. Tulane. Yep. Doesn't Tulane had a great year?
Tulane is look. Say what you want.
Didn't Tulane they almost beat Oklahoma last year, right?
Tulane has more SEC championships than Ole Miss does.
I'm saying kick Vanderbilt out. Let's add Tulane. I want to start that movement.
I want Tulane in there. Look, Tulane almost beat Oklahoma to start week 1 in Norman. In Norman.
Yeah.
Granted, everyone's preseason Heisman Spencer Rattler, who's now at South Carolina. But look, I'm tired of Vanderbilt. It's a cute act. They're a great conference win. But dude, let's try something else. I would rather play. Dude, think about this. Here we go. Tulane plays their SEC games in the Superdome. Dude, how cool would it go to be like an Alabama Tulane game in the Superdome? Or
that'd be so sick. They do play in the Superdome?
Well, they used to. Now they have their own stadium. But still, you get big schools like that where it's like, hey, we need a big stadium to fit all these fans in. Come on, that'd be kind of cool. Gives us an extra excuse to go to New Orleans for a season.
I would love Tulane being in the SEC again. I think that'd be awesome. Honestly, add Georgia Tech while you're at it. I love Georgia Tech too. I think that'd be awesome.
Okay, so all right, so let's think about this real quick. So you can kick Vanderbilt out, and you get to add one team of your choice, and it has to make sense geologically.
Sure.
And it can be Power 5. It can be Group of 5. It can even be FCS. I'll allow it. Who are you adding?
I've already said Tulane, but I'll come in with another one. Mac, go for it.
So you're kicking Vanderbilt out. You kind of want someone who's, I wouldn't say that's similar speed, but someone who's not quite as big as Oklahoma, for example. I'm saying we piss all the Florida State fans off. Let's bring UCF into the SEC.
No.
Yes.
That would be wild.
Do it. Let's watch the world burn.
No. Absolutely not.
I'm all for it. That would be amazing. That would be a great day in college football.
Cruz, for a fact, even with SEC money, that recruiting, they couldn't beat half the SEC
We would
teams right now.
skull drag them on purpose every year for claiming they're the 2017 national champions.
Yeah, I know.
We would
Wouldn't it be awesome to see
drag
that? That'd be awesome.
One time. I want to see it one time. That way they never are relevant ever again. They made state championship rings for
Yeah.
college.
That was bad.
Pretty soft.
That's
That was
terrible. If I'm going to add somebody, okay, look.
They did that solely for recruiting purposes, though. 100%.
Florida and Florida State and Miami are getting back to being very relevant in recruiting in the next couple of years, so they need to do something. I'll say this one is kind of interesting because you want to add someone who brings value to the conference, and it might not just be in football, but it can be for another sport. I say we dip our toe in the Big 12 again and we get Kansas.
No, that would be interesting.
I
That'd be
think-
good for basketball.
I think it'd be great for basketball. They're just as relevant as Vanderbilt football. But get this, at least Kansas football has beaten Texas more
That's-
relevant. Like,
Yeah.
they can beat Texas. They're known to be wacky and bad, and we know that. And they had a magical year in 2007. But how great would that be adding the conference or the national champions in basketball, and we still get a free win in football?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. That would
I
be
think it'd be cool. Like, dude, getting to watch Kansas, Kentucky every year, and the Bama gets to go to Lawrence, and the Kansas has to come to Coleman. Like, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be sick. I'm personally, I already said Tulane. That would be like my pick for like this. But my other one, I mean, Mac, you said it, Florida State. They have an unbelievable fan base. Tallahassee is a great college town. I mean, Tallahassee is like the only city, college town that is like the SEC that is not in the SEC, right? It's like Tuscaloosa, Oxford, like College Station, Baton Rouge. They have that like environment. Florida State and the SEC would be so much fun.
For the logistics of my relationship, I am never going to support that.
Well, I thought she was an Auburn fan.
She undergrad at Florida State.
I know, so
She's Florida.
it literally cannot get any worse.
So I want you to think about that I would have to deal with not Alabama playing not just Auburn, but then playing Florida State every year.
Well, they'd be in the East, so you'd play them twice every 6 years. So
I don't want that. Okay, I don't. And then God forbid they get good again, and then I have to play Florida State, and it's a Florida State Alabama SEC championship.
is she one of those that like supports both of them equally? Like she doesn't have like a main team. It's
No,
like
it's Florida.
1A,
Florida
1B.
State. Florida State is our main team.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
no,
fair.
that is Bobby Bowden till is her goat. That's her Saban.
Sure.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. One of the greatest college coaches of all time. But yeah, so I don't want that because football season and Iron Bowl is already going to be hard enough. So,
Well, this year it won't be very hard. This year is going to be.
we didn't think it was going to be
murder.
hard. We didn't think it was going to be hard last year. Look what happened.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good
So-
point.
Yeah, what about Bo
it's-
Nix not winning the starting job in Oregon?
Yeah, that is kind of wild. He's second
I
string
think
right now.
It's hilarious. I don't. It's a matter of what ifs, boys. And speaking of what ifs, I thought it'd be kind of fun this week since there's not really a ton of going on in the world of sports until the NFL draft next week. Wait, NFL draft's next week, right?
Yes.
In
Okay, that's
April,
what I thought. Yeah,
that's
okay.
right. That's right.
I was
Next
making sure I
Thursday.
wasn't losing my mind. I thought it'd be fun if we did our biggest what ifs in sports history, like our biggest hypotheticals, like the sports butterfly effect. Like, what if Appalachian State never blocked the field goal? Would we look at FCS teams the same way? What if a flag was thrown in New Orleans and it didn't get called? It's Tom Brady. Would Tom Brady and Julian Edelman get another Super Bowl, or would Tom Brady have retired there? I don't know. There's a lot to go on, but we'll start because I want to start with the intern. So, Mac, what is your biggest what if in sports history to you?
Well, I have two answers. To myself, I would say, what if I was 6'5", 260, had a cannon for an arm, ran 4.3? That would be awesome. That would be a great
That'd
what
be a
if.
great
That would
what
be
if.
An NFL lock. That would be awesome.
Okay, so
But we're
turn
being-
Madden off. real quick. Turn Madden off, and
Turn the imagination off a little bit.
because that's like the only way you can watch the Atlanta Falcons win a Super Bowl is
Okay.
on Madden.
There was no need for that. No, Mac, hold on. Cruz, I said at the beginning of the show I was going to be nice to you. I said I was going to be nice, and now you're testing my patience, sir. You were testing it. I'll give you one slide.
Okay.
Next time I'm bringing with the thunder, okay?
Fair enough.
So Mac, proceed. Go.
Just
That was
give
uncalled
him
for.
25 years. Just give him some slack. The Falcons will figure it out. My biggest what if, in my mind, the ultimate underdog story, a David and Goliath. If David didn't represent the Giants, but the helmet catch, like what an unbelievable moment in sports history to defeat the undefeated Patriots. Oh my God, if the Patriots actually won, Tom Brady might have stayed there. They had an unbelievable roster, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Mike Vrabel, Willie McGinnis, Asante Samuel, Ty Law, the list goes down. And God, if they won, Tom Brady would still be there. As a Dolphins fan, I would probably still be locked in my parents' basement. I would not be able to leave just because my life would be that miserable. The fact that, I think I was 11 years old when I won. It was like a very early sports memory for me, and I still remember it very vividly to this day. He caught with one hand on his head, and Rodney Harrison tried to knock it away. No shot. David Tyree, it was an absolutely unbelievable play and one that I won't be able to forget. And it happened, there was like less than a minute to go in the game, 4 plays. It was a 30-yard catch, something like that. And four plays later, they won the game. Unbelievable.
Undeniably, like you said, one of the best sports moments, of this generation, I would say. But, it would go down as the best NFL team ever, right? If New England goes on to win that.
No doubt.
You couldn't argue it. It's undisputed.
People bring up the 72 Dolphins, but no one talks about them.
Or like the 85 Bears.
It's a different era. I can honestly say I don't think in our lifetime we will ever see a team go. Well, now if you think about it, now that there's an extra game added to the NFL schedule, I don't think it will ever happen ever again. It would have to take literally the perfect storm of talent and injury luck.
And luck, yeah.
And luck 100%. To go your way. And it's
the Lions this year.
The Lions, yeah.
The Lions.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Reverse Super Bowl champs, 0-17, get Bryce Young. Yep.
That would be insane.
Right.
That would work.
All right. I love that.
That was a good pick. That
was actually a really good pick. So next, I'm going to bring in my boy Wyatt. Mac, that was really good. Wyatt, I'm bringing you in. Wyatt, what is your biggest sports what if?
Well, first off, I would like to say let's not have Detroit go 0-17 and snatch up Bryce Young because my life will be hell for the next 15 years having to play him twice a year.
No, he's going to Atlanta, dude. He's
not. He's not going to Atlanta.
I need him to go to Atlanta.
Thank you.
Keep him out of Detroit.
Thank you.
I don't want to face him twice a year. Regardless of how good Detroit is, Bryce Young scares the hell out of me.
Could you imagine Bryce Young taking?
I have to go from loving him with all of my being to hating every aspect of him.
But it would make Nick happy.
It'd make me happy. Look at you. Want me happy, right?
Oh, I was talking about on Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Do we have any? Do we have any Detroit fans?
I don't know a Detroit fan.
If you're a Detroit fan, please comment on one of the social posts.
I really don't know.
We'll bring you on because I want to analyze your psyche because there's no way you're a sane person.
I actually, yes. If you're a Detroit Lions fan and you listen to the show, or you know a Detroit Lions fan, let us know, please.
Open invitation to come.
Open invitation for you to have a free therapy session and let me know how miserable your sports life has been.
Intern. Okay, your mission this week: find the guy that was wearing the Matthew Stafford jersey, the Detroit Matthew Stafford jersey, and was freaking out when he made it to the Super Bowl and he got invited to the Super Bowl. Find that guy. I want to talk to that guy because that dude is borderline crazy to still be a Detroit fan.
That's my project for the week.
That's your project. Find that guy.
Cool. But no, my biggest what if in sports history, what if LeBron James never left Miami?
That's a great one.
Because when LeBron was negotiating his contract, he had a verbal agreement with Pat Riley. He said, look, Had the other guys, like all three of us will still take budget cuts. Bosh, Wade, and LeBron. They said, we'll all take budget cuts. We want to run this back again. We want to keep the big three together. And then he left in the cover of darkness to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So if LeBron had never left Miami, imagine the series with the Warriors.
Mm.
Oh my God, it would be just absolutely beautiful.
Well, I mean, imagine
Cleveland would have never won a ring. Cleveland
Yeah.
would never have a ring.
Yeah.
I think Kyrie doesn't leave Cleveland either because he doesn't have his falling out with LeBron.
Good point. Steph Curry probably never wins a ring. I mean, or it's just one.
I think they still, yeah. I think Curry gets one ring. I think LeBron has a much better record in the finals. He wins.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Warriors and Heat matchups for those years would be just absolutely gorgeous.
What is his record right now? He has 4 rings, but one of them's a Mickey Mouse ring, I guess.
Yeah, one of them's Mickey Mouse. He's
So
4 and 6
three-
in the finals.
Three and a
3.5.
half.
3.5.
Three
He would
and a
have
half,
5. He would have 5.
He'd
rings if he
100%
stayed.
have 5.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I think
fine.
you have 6.
You think he'd have 6?
I really do. I think Pat. Well, okay. So why I love that. My only gripe about it is no one foresaw Chris Bosh getting blood clot.
I will say, yes, the blood clots for Chris Bosh would have still happened. That still would have been a problem. But at the same time, who doesn't want to come play with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade?
Especially in Miami, where it's state-free income tax.
Yes.
It's a lot easier to recruit people to come play in Miami than it is Cleveland.
I think you could have potentially seen the Anthony Davis trade instead of him going to LA, him coming to Miami.
That would be
That would have
wild.
been
That would be crazy.
That would have been beautiful. I think Jimmy Butler
The thing
ends
is
up in Atlanta with Trae Young.
I loved LeBron James in Miami.
He's
Like,
I did too.
That is the best.
that's
LeBron.
the best version. Yeah.
I
the
love
best
it.
version of LeBron.
2010 to 2014 LeBron in Miami is the best all around version of Miami. Defense, offense, like the show, like it was must watch TV whenever it was on
Yes.
TV or ESPN.
Yeah.
LeBron was the star of that show, and the great thing is any of those three could have become a superstar anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like Dwayne Wade had to put his ego aside and take a step back to let LeBron and Bosh, or to allow LeBron and Bosh to come to Miami.
I think it was
Imagine if he
also
didn't.
a little bit of a perfect storm because Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, those guys like genuinely liked each other. I mean, we
Oh, they
talked
loved
about it
each other.
earlier, like Steph Curry, KD, Klay Thompson, like they had their issues. It's the reason KD left. I mean, KD, Kyrie having issues, KD and James Harden having issues. Like
Mhm.
you can get talent together, but they're not going to play well. They're not going to mesh unless they're actually like tight personally. If they can have a friendship off the court, that's when it gets taken to another level. And that's what you saw in Miami. All those guys genuinely cared about each other. And that's how 3 out of 4 he won there? Or was it 2 out of 3?
He went 2-2.
Yeah.
He lost to Dallas first, which they should have won that one.
They should have.
They should have.
They beat Derrick Rose in Chicago in 5 games. MVP Derrick Rose, and then walked into it, dominated game 1. Game 2, they were up by 12 in the second half, and then they just like started showboating.
Yeah.
They came back, they won game 3, and then Dallas just
Ran
they
it
were
from
way
there.
too cocky. And then the next year, I will say this: LeBron's first championship year in 2013. Or the 2012, I'm sorry, the 2012 season. You have a hellacious series against the Indiana Pacers when they had Paul George and Roy Hibbert and Ty Lawson and David West and I'm sure there's Lance Stevenson in his prime. Like that team was so good defensively that Dwayne Wade and Eric Spoelstra almost threw fists at each other in that game. And the fact they came back and played out of their mind. Then you go 7 games against the big 3 in Boston and a do or die game 6. LeBron James arguably has one of the greatest games, if not the greatest game of his career. I think we all remember game 6 in Boston. And then you go against Greg Popovich, or Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. I mean, that Danny Green. I mean, that Spurs team was electric. And
Kawhi Leonard was on that team, wasn't he?
Kawhi Leonard, yeah.
He was like 6-man on that team.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's funny? No. I'm sorry. I'm actually a year ahead. That was the Spurs year. I'm thinking of the 2013 series, but still that was even impressive. I meant to say then you go up against Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Who have Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and all in their prime. Their young prime. Like Serge Ibaka in his prime playing defense. I mean,
the NBA was fun that year. Holy cow.
Yeah. And then to go back and do it again in 2013 and then 2014, the Spurs just they were ready. You lose in a heartbreaking 7-game series when they should have won. They literally had the championship trophy ready to go for the Spurs, and Ray Allen hits the greatest 3-point shot of all time.
Yeah.
So, that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, that would have changed a lot for sure if he stayed in Miami. I mean, butterfly effect. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
That changes everything. The NBA now does not.
The Lakers would still be poverty post Kobe.
Yeah. They would have never even come close to the playoffs since
they've got nothing. Yeah,
for sure. Agreed.
All right. That was good, Wyatt. I appreciate that. All right. Nick, you're up. What is the greatest what if in sports history to you?
Man, see, this was tough. I didn't go with like the greatest in my opinion, but I went with one that was like very interesting to me.
Okay.
And it took me a little bit to kind of come up with like all the different avenues it goes down, but in your mind, right? Do you watch the UFC?
Yeah,
yeah. You watch pay-per-view and I'll buy the biggest boxing fights, and it got me thinking like
big Wilder fan. Big
yeah. Oh, huge. Yeah, absolutely. And it got me thinking of like, where would the sport nowadays be without Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor? If those two guys did not get into combat sports, how different the UFC and the boxing sport would look nowadays.
Okay.
Because
I'm interested. You got my attention.
Google it, right? The top 10 pay-per-view buys for combat sports, who are the headliners? Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, or Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, because they fought each other in that boxing fight once. So I think that actually still holds the record for the most pay-per-view buys, but check me if I'm wrong on that. But those two guys have been such an instrumental part in their respected fighting industries. And I wanted to loop them together because they are very similar. But if you have Floyd Mayweather, who doesn't go, he's now 51-0 in his professional career. He really revolutionized. Muhammad Ali was a very good talker, extremely good talker. He could hype up a fight. And there have been a lot of good hype up fights. They were very good showmen, and they could, get people to buy, get people to watch, get people to pay attention. Muhammad Ali is one that really comes to mind. Floyd Mayweather is one that really just took it to the next level. He was the guy that he became the bad guy. Like every sport, every storyline needs a bad guy, and people need to get invested by hating him. And he became that. He started showing off all of his money, showing up with inexpensive cars and $20,000 suits, and just throwing money in the air, had all of his, girlfriends with him and stuff. And he was just the bad guy. And that allowed him to sell all these pay-per-views and honestly save the world of boxing. Because I don't know if you know this, but that boxing was on a deep decline, man. If it wasn't Floyd Mayweather in that fight, nobody was paying attention. It wasn't on ESPN. It wasn't on any of the major, sports news that you see on your phone. It was nowhere. Floyd Mayweather revolutionized that industry and made it to where it is today. And now you have YouTube boxing. Now you got these YouTube celebrities coming out here talking shit the same way Floyd Mayweather does. It's the same way. And now, so that whole industry was created solely from him. And then you pivot to Conor McGregor, right? Conor McGregor came on the scene. He was just a normal, Irish guy. He had the Irish fans behind him, but it really wasn't until the UFC that he really got that personality where he was just, I don't give an F, attitude. Like I'll show up when I want to, and everybody was drawn to his personality, to that aura.
We haven't
And the
used the F-bomb, by the way. You could have said it.
I was gonna leave it for you, but he didn't have that "I don't give a fuck" attitude, right? He
There we
had
go.
that.
That's the one.
He did not. He just did not care, and everybody was like drawn to that almost. And honestly, in the same way that Floyd Mayweather was the bad guy, using the same tactics, Conor McGregor became the good guy. Everybody loved Conor McGregor, and it was the fact he went on that 5 or 6 fight winning streak where he was just beating the hell out of people and talking shit every step of the way. And that's what got people paying attention. The UFC and Dana White would not be where they are without Conor McGregor. I think even Dana White would say that. And there have been a lot of really good UFC fighters, John Jones, Anderson Silva, a lot of these guys that have been very good, but they never had the personality to get it out there to the mainstream audience, right? And Conor McGregor was able to do that. So I think if you, for all of those reasons, right, you take Floyd Mayweather and you take Conor McGregor and they go be plumbers and they don't get into combat sports, the world of boxing for sure would not be the same. The UFC would still be around, but it definitely would not be as big.
Okay.
That's mine.
That's actually really interesting to think about. I really haven't, actually.
And like all like the celebrities that come off of like UFC, like what's the woman's name? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, Ronda Rousey. Like she's doing wrestling now. She would have never been that big. She only came onto the scene because she was this like right in the realm of Conor McGregor doing all of that. She was headlining stuff because she was like that first like woman to really dominate the scene like Conor McGregor did in the male scene. So they all came together and it was a perfect storm for the UFC, and that's how they blew up. That's how now they're selling 800,000 or 1 million pay-per-view buys per UFC event. It's because of Conor McGregor. And you have to, man, like just like the thought of him never fighting is a crazy one to think about. I'd love to see what it would be like.
I like that. I like that one a lot. It's kind of out there. I've yet to hear that one. All right. So my turn. I think you know who is my all-time favorite professional athlete, Nick?
Drew Brees. That's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. I think it's very well known. I think he is the GOAT quarterback. I think he is the
wrongfully, but that's fair.
Numbers don't lie, man. And numbers don't lie. I've seen. Look, statistically, he's thrown more touchdowns, more yards than Brady did in less games. I mean,
show me the
rings. He might have an
rings.
MVP, but he's got a Super Bowl MVP, and I think that's what matters. He's got the same amount as Rodgers. So I've seen.
I'm not the one saying Aaron Rodgers is better than Drew Brees. I've never said that.
Because it's completely wrong. Drew Brees is an all-time great. I mean, the only if Drew Brees has 2 Super Bowl rings, I don't think anyone would give me flack for my argument. I think that Tom Brady is the most accomplished ever, and there's no disputing that whatsoever. Now, calling someone the greatest of all time, I think. I don't know. I don't think he's the greatest football player of all time. I think that's Jerry Rice. I think Jerry Rice or Deion Sanders or Lawrence Taylor is the greatest football player of all time, athlete.
Yeah.
But I've seen quarterbacks who are more accurate. I've seen quarterbacks who have a better arm. I've seen quarterbacks who have more athleticism. But I think Tom Brady just wins games, and he's had the luxury of a lot of things going his way.
Yeah.
And he's won rings off of that. I've seen Drew Brees do it with no-name receivers and historically bad defenses and controversy and referees screwing them. But
I'm going to shut up. I'm going to stop my hating. I'm going to let you say your what if.
So my biggest what if in sports history is if the Miami Dolphins would have let Nick Saban, that's right, Nick Saban, sign Drew Brees after coming off his shoulder surgery from the San Diego Chargers because he was cut. Chargers decided to go with Phillip Rivers. Drew Brees wanted to go to Miami. It's well known that if they would have been cleared, he would have gone. I think it affects so many things, Nick, to like a T. It's insane to think about. But we'll just start with the obvious one right here. We'll start with the obvious. Nick Saban gets Drew Brees. Nick Saban doesn't go to the University of Alabama.
Nope.
He's not there.
Mm-mm.
We don't know what that means for the University of Alabama because Rich Rodriguez, who was coaching at West Virginia, who was winning BCS bowl games, who was running the crazy spread option with Pat White and Steve Slayton, and he decides to go to Michigan instead, and that was a huge, colossal failure. I don't even know where Rich Rod is now. I know he's an offensive coordinator somewhere, but I have no idea where he's at. And so who does Alabama get a coach? I legit don't know that. I don't know. I mean, Alabama hadn't won a national championship since 1992 at that point. They had a pretty decent year in 2005 with Brody Croyle and Tyrone Prothro in that defense. 06 was kind of a eh. They didn't get Tim Tebow like everyone thought.
I think that's a big aspect of it.
That's a huge other what if I could have gone to, because I almost did what happens if Tim Tebow would have gone to Alabama instead of Florida.
Yeah,
because I've actually had that conversation with Tim, and it's actually pretty interesting. But I figured that would be a story for another day.
Rich Rodriguez is head coach of Jacksonville State. My God,
very fitting. So at least he's coaching a team in Alabama. So I guess it all comes full circle. So you have that. The next thing I have in that, in sticking to the Alabama factor, is that if there's no Nick Saban in the SEC, Urban Meyer doesn't leave Florida.
Yeah,
Urban Meyer has no legit real competition besides Les Miles and oh my God, why am I Mark Richt? There you go, Mark Richt.
Yeah.
So you have Les Miles and Mark Richt. Maybe
Steve Spurrier in South Carolina.
No, that also true. They were decent back then. Dan Mullen went to Mississippi State, and then you had Lane had already left Tennessee by then. I'm trying to think. Who else was there?
I can't remember coaches back then, man. Les Miles at LSU. I mean, you had Mike Schuler at Alabama, but
yeah. So there's no. Yeah, so there's really no competition for Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was killing recruiting before Nick Saban got there in the SEC. Like you got the Pouncey twins, you got Tebow, you got Aaron Hernandez. Like, you say what you want about him, but he was the number one player in Connecticut coming out of high school. You got just 5-star athlete Riley Cooper. Cam Newton went to Florida. Everyone forgets that he didn't go to Auburn. He went to Florida, and the only reason he transferred was because Tim Tebow decided to come back for his senior year, and that made another year of Cam Newton on the bench. Yes, the laptop thing and everything that went along with it, but Cam Newton would have been the starter in 2009 had Tim Tebow gone pro. Like everyone kind of thought he did after he won it. So then you have that factor of it. So so Urban Meyer doesn't go to Ohio State. He doesn't go coach the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sure.
So we have no idea what that means there. So maybe Tim Tebow goes back to back with his national championship since there's no Nick Saban to beat him in 2009.
Right.
And then he goes down as like the greatest college quarterback ever, winning 3 national championships and a possible second Heisman.
Sure.
Then you have, and then now from the Saints aspect of it, who's the Saints quarterback? Because they're not drafting Reggie Bush without a quarterback. So are they drafting Vince Young out of Texas, who just won a national championship? Or are they drafting Matt Leinart, who was arguably one of the winningest quarterbacks in college football history at the time,
right,
who won a Heisman Trophy? Does the New Orleans Saints, do they move out of the state of Louisiana and go to LA? Because Katrina hit the year before.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of like what ifs. And getting Reggie Bush was like a huge deciding factor, and getting Drew Brees was a huge deciding factor of season ticket holders and people rallying around this team. So do they move to San Antonio like they were rumored to? Or do they become the LA team that everyone wanted, the Los Angeles Saints, which actually kind of has a nice ring to it?
It does have a nice ring to it, yeah.
Then you have Sean Payton. How does Sean Payton do? Does he decide to go to Dallas instead of New Orleans with this? Because he was being recruited by Oakland. He could have gone to Dallas earlier. There's a lot that can go into it. And then now you look at it from the Drew Brees factor. Is Drew Brees one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? He got to play with. you can say Sean Payton's a top 10 all-time NFL head coach.
I agree with that. As a
Yeah.
Falcons fan, I agree with that.
He is a top 10 off all time. I will go to my grave saying that. Offensively, he is a genius.
Yeah.
He has done less here. He's done more with less than I think almost anybody. I love Andy Reid, but Andy Reid has had heaps and heaps of more talent than him. So I think like the only people I would pick over Sean Payton would be Bill Belichick for obvious reasons.
Sure.
And then you have obviously like the Vince Lombardis and the
Right.
Mike. Well, no, actually Mike Ditka can go F himself for the Ricky Williams trade, but
Well, yeah, but you could still say he's an all-time great.
yeah, but
coach,
he was an
though.
all-time great. And
Yeah.
so what does Drew Brees do? Does he have the record-breaking numbers like he would? He's playing for a defensive head coach in Nick Saban, who had the defensive player of the year and Jason Taylor the year before. Like Miami was good to go.
If they got Drew Brees, I mean, you might even go as far to say New England doesn't even have that great of a run because
That's
then
where
you're
I was going
playing
with it, yeah.
Miami twice a year in the same division. Like
That's
there's
exactly
so
where I was
many
going with it.
aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because you're gonna have Brady versus Breeze two times a year for the next decade. You're gonna have Saban versus Belichick's two best friends going at each other for a decade who know each other very well. In fact, that Nick Saban had beaten Bill Belichick the year before in 2006 without a quarterback.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have Ronnie Brown, you have Ricky Williams, and then you add it to that really good defense, especially led by Jason Taylor and Zach Taylor, a linebacker. And I'm sure, and I would have to go, or Zach Thomas, I'm sorry. There was something there. Like there's no way. And you would be crazy to actually believe this, that Bill Belichick would have had his run of AFC championships like he did, and Brady would have all those wins against Miami like he did, and AFC East championships like he did if Nick Saban was there and they had to play him twice a year. Saban was 2-2 against Bill Belichick in his short time in Miami.
Yeah. And so the thing is like you look at Nick Saban's career in the NFL and you can point to it and say, yeah, like it wasn't that great of a run. Well, he didn't have a quarterback. And we all know you can be the best coach in the league, but if you don't have a quarterback that can get you there, you're not going to succeed quite like you were supposed to, right? So if you get a guy like Drew Brees, which again, as a Falcons fan, he's a top 3 quarterback all time for me. He just is. And I'm sorry, like for anybody out there that is saying like, oh my God, trade or whatever. He just is. I mean, he's that good. And I hate to do this to you. And I hate to say this, but like, if he doesn't go to New Orleans, he goes to Miami or just, I mean, or, goes, to Los Angeles or stays in Los Angeles. Maybe he doesn't get cut, whatever is the case. He might go down. He might be the GOAT. I mean, the GOAT, undisputed, because Tom Brady doesn't have the career that he has. Drew Brees is still as talented as he is. He's playing for a defensive coach, but he still had weapons around him. I mean, it might be Drew Brees as the guy that has 5 rings.
It could be. I'm not disagreeing, but I don't know that because I felt like the Sean Payton, Drew Brees pairing was perfect for each other.
Agreed. I agree with that.
And Saban was a defensive guy. So I don't know, but I thought like there was just so much that went along with it, like Brady's run, Brady's legacy, Drew Brees' legacy, Saban's legacy, Bill Belichick's legacy, the Sean Payton's legacy, the city of New Orleans as a whole for a sports town. Like there's so much that goes into just one decision from doctors failing a physical.
Yeah.
Because it's well known that Drew Brees was going to Miami if he was cleared.
Yeah.
It's well known. And
I even think even other than the physical, Saban still wanted the guy.
Yeah, you did.
He was like, he failed the physical. I don't care. I still want him. And yeah, it was the front office that said no.
Yeah, and you got Dante Culpepper, who we found out wasn't all that great without Randy Moss and Chris Carter. So that's my biggest what if, and I thank God every day that the Dolphins failed Drew Brees. So that's our show this week, guys. Like I said, we got a lot of fun things in the works, especially draft next week. We're gonna do we're gonna figure out something to do for the draft. We're pretty excited about. So you can find me on at The Real Cruzox on Instagram and Twitter. Please keep supporting us through through Twitter, Instagram, following us, and shout out to Boot Crew Media. Make sure you're following them on their socials as well. Nick, how can people find you online?
Yeah, just go drop a follow on Twitter at nperkins96. Not a big Instagram guy. Just follow me on Twitter. The show's Twitter, not the Real Cruise Ox, excuse me.
You can follow
The
me too,
Oxcord, yeah, go follow at the Real Cruise Ox as well. But the Oxcord Pod, they're catching me in followers, guys. Cruz is trying to embarrass me by getting the show to beat me in followers, so let's not let that happen. Let's go, Team Nick. Come on, we can do this. Let's jump on the follow train. So I appreciate it.
I will Venmo every new follower a penny.
A penny, just to piss me off, won't you?
Just to piss you off. And our intern Mac, how can people find you online? Your mic's on mute there, big guy.
You're good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at Matt Goodchild. And I tell you listeners a little secret. I'm friends with the guy who runs the Instagram for this podcast. And he said that he will like any comment you guys have on any of these posts. So I'm sure you guys like interaction on social media. Hey, I mean,
there you go.
What's not to love? I'm sure he would really like that as well. So
that's a pretty good deal.
It is a good deal. Hashtag team follow back.
Hashtag team follow back. I'm okay with that. And
yeah, so
of course,
for his sake, make sure to follow the Oxcord Pod on Instagram at the Oxcord Pod.
Attaboy.
Boom. And of course, our other Wyatt. I took it away. Wyatt, how can people find you online, my man?
Follow me on Twitter at FultonW_. Follow me on Instagram at Dubs1024. Please follow Boot Crew Media and the Oxcord Podcast on Instagram, Twitter. Follow the Oxcord Podcast on TikTok. Here, I'll do something. For the follower that causes the Oxcord to pass Nick in Twitter followers, I will Venmo you $50.
What the hell, guys? Can we stop?
The follower that causes us to jump Nick, I will Venmo you $50.
Okay, all right. So here's what we're looking at right now, guys. I'm at 3277. Okay, and the show is at what, 2,800? We said right at the beginning it was 2,800.
Yep. That's
not a big gap, right? That's not a large gap. So please help me out. Follow me. Follow the show too, because I'm in. Let's do that, but let's not let this happen just so soon. Let's make it a football season. If I can make it to football season without this happening, I'll be happy.
Follow Nick, save me $50, or follow the podcast and make me $50.
Or make you
$50. I'm sorry.
Yeah. How about this? I'll double down on that. If the follower who passes me in followers for the podcast, I'll give them $100.
Oh, I'll make it 100 for me too. 200 total.
That's 200. Wyatt, put your money where your mouth is.
Well, I was just about to say I'm gonna one up all of you, and I'm just gonna add $1 to Wyatt's $50 fund. So now we're at $51.
Fine. Big money bags over here, yes. Matt.
So you can win $101 by beating Nick, and you can make $200 beating me.
$300.
$300. Boom! You heard it here first. $300.
We're bribing our own fan base here, but I love it. It's fine.
You know what? You got to do what you got to do. Business ain't pretty. Well, we love you guys, and we will see you next week. Happy draft week. Can't wait for it.